It doesn't seem to be turning up very well.
Good evening. This is Attorney Vincent Davis, and this is The Secret, How to Fight CPS and Win. I'm joined tonight by 5 special guests. Miss Cassandra Woodard. Cassandra, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm joined by Miss G. How are you, Miss G? So that would be, how are you, Miss G?
I'm fine.
Good. Thank you for joining us tonight.
You're welcome.
And then we have, we have Mona Lisa Vito. And Mona Lisa, can you introduce everybody with you?
Hi, this is my daughter, Brooke, or Alexis, and this is her husband, Joseph Smith.
Okay. Now, Mr. Smith is an adult, but is Brooke an adult as well?
Yes, she is.
Okay, perfect. So, folks, how is everybody this evening?
We're doing the best we can, given our situation.
So, you have a CPS situation?
Yes, we do.
Have you had a chance to talk to Cassandra or Miss G about it?
No, we have not had a chance to talk to either one of them since everything has transpired from May.
From May of 2022?
Correct.
What state are you located in?
We're in California.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, who's going to be telling us the story of what happened to you folks with CPS?
I'll let the parents tell you.
Okay. One at a time, please.
When our daughter was born, the caseworkers came and she said that they wanted to approve our house and stuff based on our history, and they wanted us to go drug test. I was on 2 medications, and that's the only thing that our daughter had in her system when she was born. And they're both legal. I was on them my whole pregnancy. My doctor knew about it, and they were acting like I was on some illegal substance, and that was why our daughter needed to go to the NICU. But really, the plan was for her to go to the NICU to be tapered off of the medication I was on, which my OB knew about, and is anyways. So the hospital social worker said that that anytime a baby's born on methadone, that they have to contact CPS. And I told her that I have a 6-year-old that I was taking methadone with and have to taper it off when he was born, and they never called CPS on me or anything because I had a prescription for it and because I was clean and stuff. And she didn't believe me, and she said just to expect them to be there, the CPS social worker at the hospital, like the next morning. So this guy shows up the next morning holding my baby. It's like the second day after she was born, and the first thing they do is separate me and my husband David, and they questioned him for a good hour in another room, and then when they came to question me, I was nervous, and I told them I wanted my husband in the room, and they tried to tell me he couldn't be in, and And I said, I'm not talking to you guys unless my husband's in the room. And so they talked to me. So they said, okay. And they were just asking me all kinds of questions about my past and stuff. And I was like, I haven't gotten in trouble in over 6 years. Like, I've been clean for over 6 years. I've been taking methadone for that long. And, and so, oh yeah, so they told us that we needed to go give a urine sample that day by 3 o'clock, right? And so we did. And we were both, me and my husband were both clean. And so we called the social worker to tell him, and he said, I need you guys to get down to the hospital right now. I have something I need to tell you. It's not good news. And we're like, what the heck? Because we just tested clean and everything. And so we get down there. He's waiting outside the hospital for us. And he said, I have a warrant to put a hold on your baby signed by the judge because it was reported that over the weekend you guys tried to leave the hospital with the baby. And I said, my heart was just like beating out of my chest. And I was like, what are you talking about? Because that never happened. And I said, if that would have happened, like, it would be on videotape, I'm sure. And we wouldn't be allowed back in the hospital. And we still are. We still have our armbands. The baby's armband would have set the alarm off if we would have tried to leave with her. And we know better than that. Why we wouldn't ever do that, And if she needed medical attention, we weren't just going to take her and leave. So he said, and I said, where's your proof? And he said, I don't need any proof. That's what the nurses said. So, and I said, if I go to prototypes right now, like today, will you give me my baby back? And he looked at me and said, no. And he started asking questions, like what kind of questions were he asking me?
Just
Not really asking questions, just like accusing us of
of our past,
like and then later on in the report, I found out that the worker was supposed to be asking us 6 questions to see if we were eligible for the family preservation program.
But he said we.
And in the report, he said that I was too emotional, and he tried to ask me these questions, and I couldn't answer them because I was too emotional. But he didn't even tell me that I was being screened for this program or anything. And all he was doing was accusing us of, or bringing up our past, and just
saying the baby was dirty when she wasn't.
Oh yeah, saying that the baby was born drug addicted, and I told him that it's totally legal to be on methadone while you're pregnant. And he said, well, it must have been the other drugs in her. And I said, there were no other drugs. I have bad anxiety, so I get prescribed Klonopin, and I had taken one before my surgery, but I only took them during my pregnancy as like if only if I was really like anxious. So but yeah, that's what he said, that well, it's probably from the Klonopin then. And so we went to the NICU every day after that, and like every time, like we got her schedule from the nurses, like when she was going to be awake and eating and stuff, and we were there most of the time during those 30 days. We only went home to like shower and maybe sleep a little bit, but the nurses already had, like, had, it was like someone told them that the baby was going to be going to a foster home because one of the nurses told us that, oh, what do you mean? Because we're like, are you going to teach us to taper her off the methadone so when she gets released, we can do it from home? And she said, oh, she's not going home with you guys. She's going to a foster home. That's what they always do in these cases. And what else? So I don't know. It was basically like,
And we bypassed this from the beginning.
yeah,
And we were trying to do things on our own, but it didn't even matter.
like usually I thought that they would be like, if you do this and this.
Hold on a second.
Uh-huh.
Cassandra?
Did they come and take your other child?
No,
No.
no.
So
They
you still have
never.
your 6-year-old?
My 6-year-old, what?
Is it 6? Did you say 6-year-old?
Yeah. He I was on methadone when I got pregnant with him too. And so when he was born, they were tapering him off in the NICU, and then they sent him home, and they told me like showed me how to, give him his dose and stuff. And then I tapered him off, me and my
So you
ex.
still have custody of
There
him?
was never a CPS case
Yeah.
with the 6-year-old.
Yeah, I never.
Wow,
We have no kids in foster
that's
care.
interesting.
And in the CPS report, it says that he was put in a foster home because he was born drug addicted.
And that was a lie.
And when I tried to say something in court about it not being true, I would just get shut down. And when I tried to tell my attorney, my court-appointed attorney, that wasn't true, he would just say, well, that's not going to help, that's not relevant, stuff like that.
And Mars Connection people.
And then things were going so wrong in court. Like they were doing things that totally violated our civil rights and our daughters. And not to mention my mom was trying to get our daughter, and she was jumping through hoops for them. And they were lagging on getting her approved, even though she, everyone knew she was going to get approved. She already passed all their tests. But so I tried to ask for a Marsden hearing. The judge, as soon as she heard that word, it was over Zoom. She muted me. And then when she let me talk again, I tried asking her again. She muted me. And then, I think it was the third time, she put me in the waiting room for trying to ask for a Marsden hearing.
How many court hearings have you had?
Not very many. They had, let's see, 1, 2,
Like 5.
4, maybe, I think. They had 4 because they put her in the express lane to get rid of the baby, to terminate her rights, hers and
Yeah.
David's.
I mean, why? I mean, what
I
justified
think that we have been
The judge-
blacklisted, honestly,
the
for some
judge-
reason.
The judge told someone else that they didn't. That judge said that we're not good people.
Right. The judge told someone in the family that they are not good people, that they, yeah.
She said that in someone else's case. So she just discriminates on us, and we try to get a different judge, different courtroom.
And in their report, it had our entire past in there, even his juvenile record from when he was.
Had you ever had a juvenile case before, a CPS case before?
Well, when I was 18.
Hold on a second. The answer to that is yes or no. Have you ever had a prior juvenile or CPS case?
No, they wanted to, but I had already planned on giving my son to my grandparents to adopt him when I was 18, because I wasn't prepared to have a child, and
But did they start a juvenile case against you to facilitate your grandparents adopting the
They
child?
were trying to, and I kept telling them that
She willingly gave her first child up for adoption, and CPS tried to step in.
Okay, but it sounds like they did.
yeah, they were saying that I had mental problems and stuff, and
Let me ask you this: when is your next court hearing?
Their
won't-
rights have been terminated.
They're not even telling us. We're
asked
appealing
for an
it.
appeal, and they sent us something, and it states everything that happened in court, and it says the things that they didn't follow, like the certain, like our rights and stuff, how they had
Well, wait a minute. Let's back up, because I know it's a 45-minute show, and maybe you've tried to compress a lot of important facts. May I ask you some questions?
yeah. Yes.
Okay, sir. This question is for you. Have you ever had a prior CPS case?
Yes.
Okay. Ma'am, apparently you've had a prior CPS case, and apparently they use that fact to fast track you to terminate your rights. Now,
Yes.
has the termination of your rights, has that hearing already happened?
Yes.
When did that happen?
May 5th or May 19th.
Yeah.
May 19th.
Okay. Of 2022?
Yes.
Did you guys file a notice of appeal?
Yeah. Our attorneys are. Yes.
Okay, and that case is up on appeal right now?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be, but they're not keeping us up to date or anything. I try to text my attorney, and she doesn't tell me anything at all.
Okay, so one of the things you can do is you can sign up at the court website, the appellate court website, to get automatic updates on your case.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so you can just Google how to do that. And for example, if you were in Los Angeles County, and I'm not saying that you are, I don't know, but if you were, your case would be in the Second District Court of Appeal. And you can go to that website and sign up for electronic updates of what's going on in your case. And you can always look as to see what's going on your case. Now, I'm not saying that because your attorney shouldn't tell you or doesn't have to tell you. I think your attorney should keep you up to date. But in case he or she isn't, you can keep yourself up to date as well.
Okay.
So what I'm gathering is you both had prior CPS cases where you may have lost custody of your child, and they used that in this case to take this child away from you. Now, I was a little disturbed. You said that some relatives tried to get this child and they weren't allowed to.
I hired a private attorney to try to get the baby, and I was approved for a resource parent. I had my resource parent approval. It took them 8 months, but I was approved. And in the end, the judge and the baby's attorney said, well, we're both on the fence about this because both homes would make a good home, you and the foster parents. But in the end, we're going to leave her in the foster home because we think that you're too easily manipulated by your children, which makes no sense whatsoever.
The judge said she always goes for adoption over family.
And the baby's very adoptable is what they said.
Did you appeal that with your private attorney?
I did not. No, I did not. I wanted to, but I did not. No, I ran out of money.
Ma'am, mom in the middle there, did you tell me when you had your prior CPS case, was it in Los Angeles, well, not LA, but was it in the county where you just lost your parental rights? Same county?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me tell you this, and I'm not joking about this. I'm fairly serious. If you decide to have any future children, don't do it in LA County. And preferably don't do it in California. You might want to change states because, a lot of times information is easily shared between counties within the state. And, if you go to another state or another country, it might be more difficult for them, because a lot of social workers, if you've lost one or two kids in the system, if you have another kid, they're filing on you. They're going to make something up. They're going to just allege something. So, I'm interested in what's eventually going to happen in your appeal. Of course, I don't know anything about your case. Um, from what you've told me so far, it seemed like it would be difficult to lose the jurisdiction and or dispositional hearing.
Oh, yeah.
So you never would have gotten to that termination of rights hearing. But, I don't know all the facts of your case. I'm sure if the social worker's attorney was watching this, and they might be, they would easily say, oh, we had the evidence, Davis, you just don't know about it. And that could be true. I don't know. But it sounded kind of shaky the way the case started. And, you can, even if you lost a child before, you can prove to the court that, there is no jurisdiction or there should be no jurisdiction over your current brand new child. And I just don't know if that was done in your case. Did you have a trial at the jurisdictional and dispositional hearing, where witnesses were called and documents were subpoenaed and the social worker was cross-examined by
No.
your attorney?
No, they wouldn't do it. And the social worker had lied, and we didn't get to prove that we were innocent. And the
Wait,
judge.
hold on a second. So having a trial is one of your most important constitutional rights.
Yeah.
What do you mean when you say they wouldn't let you do it?
Like our court-appointed attorneys told us that that basically we weren't going to be allowed to everything that they were all the false allegations they were making.
Mm-hmm.
We weren't going to be given a chance to prove that that it wasn't true.
Yeah.
So anything that was written down, the judge just went with it, and it just wasn't fair because like so much of it was false or exaggerated or from our past.
Have you tried to speak to another attorney about what happened to you? The only way that I think that you can turn this around is by some federal civil rights lawsuit seeking some type of injunction
Mm-hmm.
to stop the termination of your parental rights. By the way, that's an idea for you. Doesn't mean that it will work. Number one, I don't know the facts of your case. And number two, people ask me, what can I do? I tell them, that doesn't mean that you're going to win. Right?
Can you repeat to me again, what did the judge say in the courtroom? That you're not a good parent? You're not good people?
That's not what
Yeah,
she
she
said,
said-
actually. She said, through no fault of their own, the baby's very adoptable and they were not given enough visitation.
The baby is very adoptable. Okay, that's number
Right.
one.
She said that in the end. She said drugs aren't the issue. Your daughter's adoptable.
Exactly.
So we go with adoption over family.
That is correct. I actually did not want to open my mouth tonight, but I'm going to. So that's number one. The baby is very adoptable. Number two, you mentioned that your court-appointed attorney discouraged you from filing an appeal and told you
No.
that it's not going to process. I mean, it's not going to be benefiting for you guys.
I filed a complaint. We filed a complaint, a grievance. They sent us a thing saying, this is what happened. If you want to file a grievance, fill this out. So we did. We sent it in. I got a call back from the social worker. He said that he talked to the judge, and the judge said that that she was not going to accept it unless we changed our reason for
What he wanted.
the grievance, the complaint. And so, and I was like, I'm not changing what I wrote down. Like that's,
Truth.
it's the truth. And so nothing ever came of it. So I looked it up online and found the state, how you can fill out one at the state level, I guess, a complaint. And I did that. I sent it in August 2nd, or I emailed them August 2nd. and said that basically they were like, discriminating against me.
Okay, let me stop you for a second. They're not discriminating against you. They're actually like this with everybody. Whether you're black, white, purple, green, orange, it doesn't matter. They
Yeah, no,
discriminate against.
I
No,
said because of our
let me
past.
finish. 1 second. Let me finish, okay? When they said your baby is adoptable, they say that to everybody. Your baby is adoptable because they make more money from adoption. You see, they make more money for getting the child adopted. So they're going to aim for adoption at all times. So your court appointed attorney, that scumbag, he's supposed to do his job as an attorney. However, they always choose to discourage parents from actually doing the right thing for their case. Why? That court appointed attorney might be free for you guys, but he or she gets paid by the state. So they're going to side with the counties. That's just my opinion. I'm not giving you a legal advice. My opinion. They're always going to side with the county. There hasn't been one court appointed attorney yet that actually wanted to do the right thing for their clients. So if you need further legal advice, I suggest you talk to Attorney Davis right now, or you can call me at the office and make an appointment with Attorney Davis. But
Okay.
that's just my opinion. It got to my heart because I hear that a lot from people, and nobody knows each other. So the amount of people I hear that from, numerous. It's like every state, every county, people are constantly doing this, constantly telling me the same story, same exact thing. The judge said, court appointed attorney said, etc., etc. Oh, Monica said something nice, but Davis took it down so fast, maybe for a reason. Ms. G is not wrong about the court appointed attorneys either. Thank you. Appreciate that. It's actually Masi. Sorry, not Monica, Masi. Thank you, Masi. But that's what they do with everybody. So please understand, it's not just you. I have people that call me and say, because I'm black, they're doing this. No, not really. Not really. So every time a mother have a child in the same county, they're going to come after you. They're going to come after you so hard. They're going to come up with allegations. And I kid you not, there was a documentary on YouTube. I think I sent it to Cassandra. The social worker said that they actually make the allegations.
Mhm.
When you have another child, they actually call and make the allegations. I kid you not. It was
I believe it.
a social worker that was that quit the county, and it was on some kind of news media. I forgot the channel, but Cassandra has it because I send her everything. And she said that's why she had to walk away. Because they do that. And I said that on my show so many times. And some people believe and some people don't. Like Mr. Davis wouldn't believe me as an attorney. However, that's okay. That's his prerogative. I get that. He's an attorney. He speaks like an attorney. He thinks like an attorney. And, I'm not. So I can speak my mind freely. But again, they do this with everybody. Because whenever they make money from a child, they're going to come after the next one and the next one and the next one. Remember this, there's two adoptive foster homes. There's a foster homes that just takes placement temporarily, and the second one is an adoptive one. The adoptive foster homes, their mission is to adopt a child or two or three because that's the cheapest way to do it. If they do it the other way around, they have to have over $50,000 in their bank account. They have to have a business. They have to have a home, like 5 bedrooms, whatever, a mansion, whatever the requirement is. So basically, they do that intentionally. So the adoptive foster parents wants to adopt a baby. Some of them have preferences. I would like a mixed child. I would like a white child with blue eyes, blonde hair. I would like, Ethiopian child or Middle Eastern child, whatever it is. That's their preference. So CPS sees it as win-win. Win-win. So they get the baby, they make the money, the foster parents are happy, they adopt it, and they move on to the next one. and the next one, and the next one. I have a mother where they actually stole 11 babies from her. 11
Oh
babies.
my God.
She hung herself. I got a call today,
Oh,
from her mom that she hung herself and killed herself when they took the 11th child.
oh my God.
She was going to hire us. Actually, her mother was going to hire us. She actually killed herself. Why? But see, people say don't have babies in the same state. Attorney Davis says that. However, from the stories that I hear, that woman went to 7 different states and they found her. And you know what the allegation was? A domestic violence with her ex-husband. That was that. She said, I want to keep my baby. I'll get rid of the husband. She got rid of the husband, filed a restraining order, divorced him. They don't live together anymore. But yet, that's the excuse they made. But then they go back in the home and say, oh, there was another allegation against you. Who made it? I don't know. It was anonymous. But that's bullshit. It was deliberately made. Why? They separated the husband and wife already, right? It wasn't even domestic violence where it was actually hand-on. It was verbal. It was very stupid. It was over trash. Stupid. Really stupid. But yet they go and take the baby. But these understand. I mean, they find you. It doesn't matter what state you're in. As long as you're in the United States, they will find you. Once you have record with the department, they're going to know in Arizona or Virginia that you have a previous record in Los Angeles County or Sacramento or whatever. And then the cycle begins. So if you want to have another child, I suggest you get out of the United States. That doesn't have anywhere that don't have Department of Child Services in it. To start a new life. So again, I'm not giving you this as a legal advice. I'm just giving you this as examples of what I hear and what I see.
Thank you.
I mean,
What would your, sorry, what would your advice be to proceed on getting our baby girl back?
I honestly think what David said is, I mean, he's a civil attorney. He's been doing this for 35 years plus, maybe more. But you should sue them. Sue the shit out of them.
Yeah.
I just, would that help get our daughter back too? Or
I don't know. That's for Mr. Davis to answer that question for you.
Well, it depends on what type of lawsuit and what kind of relief you ask for. Most civil lawsuits only get you damages, which is money. They don't replace the daughter coming home. You'd have to include some type of claim, some type of restraining order or injunction in, forcing DCFS to give the child back to you, or forcing them to give you reunification services, or forcing them to place the child with a relative who was, basically eligible and, nothing wrong with the relative. So that's the type of thing you have to do. Now, I want to stress something. That's just me telling you what you can do. That doesn't mean that if you do it, that you're going to win. I mean, this for you at this point in time, because, so much time has gone by, it's an uphill battle. And don't forget, if you lose your appeal, you theoretically have 2 more appeals. You have an appeal to the California Supreme Court, and you can file a writ/appeal. Well, they're both writs. A writ to the California Supreme Court, which is a special type of appeal, and you can file. And if you lose there, you can file a writ to the United States Supreme Court. Now, a lot of people get discouraged and they don't take it all the way, and they don't go to federal court. Because being in appeals and being in a lawsuit, it's very stressful. Stressful on you emotionally, psychologically, physically, financially, so it's very stressful. I'm not here to tell you you should do this and not do that, or vice versa, because you and I don't know each other very well. We've never met, we've never talked, except for on this show. It becomes a very complex kind of analysis on what you should be doing. Right before the show today, a woman called me on my mobile phone, and I answered it, and she started telling me a story, and I forget what state, where she was from, and she told me the story, and I listened to the story, and she says, "Can you give me advice?" And she said something interesting. She says, "And I want more advice than just go talk to my lawyer." Now, recently I've been criticized for telling people they should go check with their lawyer. But I asked her, I said, you and I have never met. We've been talking on the phone about 15 minutes, and I haven't been talking. I've just been listening to you. And I said, in order for me to give you some competent, useful advice, I'd have to review your file. And her response was, you just don't want to tell me what to do. You don't want to give me any legal advice. And I said, well, ma'am, I've told you a couple of things that you can do, but they're very general. I said, I don't know anything about that, about your case. I said, if you went to the doctor and the doctor didn't examine you, didn't take any tests, didn't look at your medical records and said to you, hey, I need to remove your one of your lungs. What would you think about that? And she kind of chuckled and she goes, you're right. She says, the doctor's got to review everything and, do the tests and do, a thoughtful analysis. I said, well, the same thing is true for your case. I said, we've been talking 15 minutes and you've been talking to me. I've just been listening and you want me to give you the magic bullet. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that at all. I can tell you generally what to do. And I tell a lot of people, hey, you should be talking to your lawyer because they know the ins and outs. They know the intricacies of what's going on in your case. Now, if you don't want to talk to your lawyer because you don't get along with your lawyer, or you don't like your lawyer, you don't trust your lawyer, whatever it is, then you got to get another lawyer. But you can't work on this by yourself. You haven't said this, and I hope you don't tell me this, that you are trying to do this by yourself, trying to get your child back. Because if you're trying to do that, the odds of you doing that, that's like 1 in 1,000. A few weeks ago, we had a woman on the show who had her parental rights terminated in San Diego County 5 years ago. 5 years ago. She had just gotten her parental rights reinstated by the Juvenile Dependency Court in San Diego.
That's possible.
I just told you it was.
Anything is possible.
That's. I'm glad you asked that question, because I told this to someone recently, and they kind of scoffed at me. And I said, anything is possible, but your imagination is limiting you as to what you can do in this case. Now, here's the problem. Some of the things I'm telling you, it's a lot of work.
Right.
A lot of work. Some things I'm telling you, not only is it a lot of work, but it's not a good probability of success. I've had people tell me, Mr. Davis, if it's not at least a 50% probability of success, I don't want to do it. And I respect it. I've had people tell me, Davis, if there's 1% chance of success of getting my kids back, I want to try it.
Yeah.
She's worth it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now,
You're not gonna give up.
the decisions that people make, that's up to them, right? As an attorney, I don't try to tell you what you should do. Those are personal. I tell you what my opinion is about the percentages. And if I tell you, hey, there's a 1% chance that you're going to win, and you tell me, hey, I want to try it, that's your decision to make. Right? So don't let your imagination limit what you can do in this case. There's always something you can do. Are you going to win? The odds are probably going to be against you. Well, at this stage, from what you've told me, the odds are always going to be against you.
Mhm.
Should you give up? That's a personal decision that you have to make, not me. Right? I'm an attorney. I try to remain professional. All right.
I
And
do
whether,
that.
and whether you go and try to get that child back at a 1% chance of success, those are things that, parents have to decide. And I've had parents tell me, different things. I go for the 1%, or it needs to be at least 50% for me to go to try. I don't make judgments. It's a judgment-free zone. You decide. You talk to your family, your friends, your religious leaders, maybe your counselor if you're in counseling. But you make decisions all the time. I've told Cassandra and Miss G this. People come to me because they think I'm an expert. And then I tell them certain things. And then you know what they do? A lot of the people, they don't follow my advice. And then they ask me, hey, Davis, how come this is not working out? I kind of scratch my head and I hate to say, well, I told you not to do this, blah, blah, blah. And you did it. Well, I had to, Mr. Davis, and blah, blah, blah. Hey, you know what? When I was a 5-year attorney, if you didn't do what I said or what I suggested, I would get upset with you. This is my 36th year. And if you don't do what I suggest, I don't get upset with you anymore. Because, any relationship that people have, attorney-client, husband-wife, best friend, there's always going to be differences. That's just how human beings are. And I accept that. But for you, I would suggest that you talk to an attorney about some alternatives. I'm sure that attorney is going to tell you the probabilities are against you. I would agree with that. But that doesn't mean I would say don't do anything. That's a personal decision, that you have to make. If I tell you, hey, the chances are 1% that you're going to win, and you tell me, oh, I want to try it, that's your decision.
Okay.
I'm going to give you my opinion as a woman, as a mom. Don't give up on your child or children. Don't give up on them. And that 1% can actually be 50% or 100%. You don't know what's going to come out of it. You just don't. But when I don't know if you guys ever watched that documentary, The Secret. I hate negative people. Hate it. So when people start talking crap, I'm like, I don't want to hear it. I just keep it to yourself. Don't be so negative. But it really helps to understand what comes out of your mouth is what defiles your life. So if you say to me, I'm not going to win, I'm not going to do anything productive, you're not going to do anything productive. But if you wake up in the morning and say, this is what I'm going to do, this is what I'm planning on doing, and then you get an idiot that just ruins your whole day by negative crap, right? And then it gets to you, correct? So you need to train your mind to always, move away the negative part of it, and then stick with the positive. If you keep telling yourself every day, I'm going to get that baby back, my baby back, and start acting like you have your baby with you, believe me, you're going to find cracks in your paperwork that will give you the revelation of what really happened. Because right now, when you're dealing with a CPS matter, your brain is so foggy. Your mom is foggy, you're foggy, your husband is foggy, all of you guys are foggy. Why? Because it's trauma. It's traumatizing. That's why oftentimes I tell people, have somebody review your case, especially a civil attorney. Review it. Look at the cracks. Look at the small details that you missed. That attorney can use that detail process, that part, to win your case. Get it? There's so much that you can do. And that's why you should never give up. Think positive. And don't just speak positive in your life. And believe me, it works. It really, really works. Okay?
Do you have any advice on how to get a hold of a civil attorney.
Mr. Davis is a civil attorney. You can call the 888 number and you
Okay.
can ask for me and I'll be able to help you. And I
Okay.
can be able to talk to you freely if you like.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
and you can just ask for Miss G or Georgette. Either way, they know me by both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question? The judge ordered me to have visitation with the baby through a mediator. Was gonna the Children's Consortium was supposed to help with the visitation agreement. And when I talked to her, she said she'd get back to me. And when she got back to me, she said that she was very sorry. She liked me as a person, but her organization was not able to help me at all, and she couldn't give me a reason. And I don't know where to go to from there for a visitation in the meantime. I just think that maybe I don't know. I've never heard of that.
Well, let me tell you this. Right now, legally, since the parental rights were terminated, you're not related to the child.
Right.
Right. So you have no relationship to the child.
Right.
Once the parental rights are terminated and the child is adopted, even if you come up with an agreement through the consortium, it's not legally enforceable. Did you know that?
Mhm.
Yeah. So, I mean, I look at it when they tell people this, in my mind, it's just, let's placate them and make sure they don't overthrow the government and just throw them a bone
Mhm.
that they're not even going to be able to chew on after this is all over.
Okay.
So, in some states, well, it didn't pass, but I think it was Minnesota was trying to pass a law that if the parental rights were terminated, that did not mean the other relatives' rights were terminated. So the grandma would still be grandma,
Mhm.
but the law didn't pass. And, I think that might be a more civilized way of looking at these cases, but clearly that's in the years to come. Georgette, you were going to say something?
Yeah, this question is for the grandmother. Earlier, I was listening to you guys, but not really involved because I was trying to do an agreement at the same time for one of our clients. But what did you say that the reason why that the child was not placed in your custody?
I was approved as a resource parent, but then the child's social worker didn't agree with it. And when I went to court, the judge and their attorneys approved me. My attorney approved me, but the child's attorney and the county attorney and the judge all said that they were kind of on the fence about where she went either way. And they chose foster care because they said that I'm too easily manipulated by my kids and the baby's adoptable.
She said that you couldn't keep an eye on her all the time.
Yeah, and then I wouldn't be able to keep an eye on her all the time.
Because you said
You know what you should do? You know what you should do? Listen carefully to this. The organization, the federal organization that controls all CPS money nationwide and makes regulations at the federal level that all state laws have to comply with, is the Department of Health and Human Services.
Mhm.
You can Google them. You should consider filing a complaint with them because they might pick up the case and they might do something. I actually know of a case that they got involved with where the parental rights were terminated and they caused the county to turn everything around.
Okay.
To really when was this?
Do everything.
What year was this?
My office was over there on Santa Anita. So maybe 5 years ago. So you should take a look into that. They have a website. They have an online complaint form. And if the case is accepted, they actually staff the case with very well-qualified social workers, sometimes therapists or psychologists to go over, the case in detail. I don't know if you know this, but there's something called delivered service logs that are sent to the Department of Health and Human Services on every case throughout the country. And regularly, all counties are audited. Okay, but being a former CPA, the level of audit is different, right? And sometimes you can get that very fine audit if they think that civil rights have been violated. Okay?
Okay.
So check into that. Department of
I
Health
will
and
check
Human
into it.
Services.
Thank you.
Thank
You
you.
guys
Google
can
it.
also get a copy of the transcripts as well. I don't know if Attorney Davis, can they do that? Get a copy of the transcripts where, you know, where the judge actually, said those things, and that could help them also in their case. Yes or
Well,
no?
yes. They probably already have them because their case is up on appeal, so they have all the transcripts and all of the clerk's records. Now they may not know that, or they may not have seen it, but their appellate attorneys have that already.
But also be careful, because I have a client that we handled her case about a year and a half ago, and she had me listen to. So what happened? They had the hearing on Zoom. That was during COVID. I think it was 2019. I can't remember. I think it was 2019, and it was like the hearings were on Zoom, and then her mother recorded the hearing, right, where the judge told her to shut up and et cetera, et cetera. Her husband is a cop, so they were siding with the police officer, right? And the social workers loved him, etc. So, anyways, so the grandmother recorded the hearing. What the judge told her daughter in the hearing was not written in the transcripts.
Oh my gosh.
So she asked me, Georgette, can they do that? And I said, they shouldn't be able to do that. So what I thought about is that they actually could manipulate the transcripts. They actually could side with the judge. The judge could easily tell them, don't do that. Don't put that in there. Because that judge doesn't want a lawsuit, right? The court doesn't want a lawsuit. So that's what I assumed, obviously. However, again, be careful. Make sure that you get the transcripts immediately, right? So that way, like Davis said, it will help you on your case. They might have it already, like he said, but you just never know if that part was taken out somehow.
I do know that on the very last day of my trial, my attorney was the only one who did not get a copy of a report that was put into the case, which was falsified report by not only her ex-husband's new girlfriend, but also the social worker. And it contained very misleading things that caused the judge to rule in the way she did. And it was awful. It was it was a horrible, full of lies. So,
Mom and Dad, I have a question for you. What month and year do you think it was when you lost your parental rights?
It was May 19th or May 24th, something like that of this year.
Of 2022?
Yes.
And did anybody file a 388 for you beforehand?
I don't know.
Oh, what?
A 388 petition.
Is that the
What
appeal?
is that? What is it called?
They didn't do it. They didn't.
388 hearing for.
We don't know a lot about it, and our attorneys keep us in the dark, but they said they were filing the appeal for us, but they didn't tell us what any forms were called.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And my new attorney from the appeal contacted me, and she still doesn't tell me very much. And I try to ask her all kinds of questions. She'll only text me. She won't even answer call me or anything.
I don't think anybody filed a 388 for them.
Nope.
Well, Grandma, did you file a 388 or try to do anything?
No, I did not. I did not file a 388.
Isn't that something their court-appointed attorney should have offered?
Yes.
How would they know? They don't know the law. They're not
it?
attorneys. They could have said, or she could have said, hey, we can save this by the mother filing a 388, because the excuse they give the grandmother makes no sense. It's bullshit excuse.
What excuse are you referring to?
I'm talking about the grandmother. She's not capable. She's not able. That's bullshit. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, wait a minute. Who told the grandmother that she's not capable?
Oh my God. She just said it earlier. Go ahead and let him know again.
They said that I
No, no,
wasn't
no.
able to
No,
keep
no,
an
no,
eye
no.
on her
No,
24
no, no.
hours a day,
No,
and
no. Time
that
out.
I was
Time
too.
out. Time out. See, here's the problem. Because I'm a little bit precise in my thinking. Pronouns are terrible. They said blah, blah, blah. Now, when you said they, were you talking about the minor's attorney, the social worker's attorney?
It was the county representative, the county's attorney
Mhm.
is the one that said I couldn't possibly keep an eye on her 24 hours a day. And the minor's attorney and the judge said that I was too easily manipulated by my children.
Okay, now, when the judge said that, was it as a result of some type of hearing or trial that you had?
It was because you said that she asked you what would you do if you got custody of her, and you said you would never take your eyes off of her, and she said that's not possible.
Right. She asked me what would I do if I got custody of her, and I said, well, I would never take my eyes off of her. I wouldn't let her out of my sight. And she said, well, that's just not possible. And I meant as a baby around the house, and I would never let her out of my sight around the house. I would do that with any baby pretty much. And I meant it. And she says, well, that's just not possible. Well, maybe not for her, but it is for me.
Right.
So,
But you know something that's sad, but Bill Clinton 1997 Act offered cash bonuses to the social workers from your tax dollars, everybody's tax dollars. God knows I pay so much at the end of the year. So for the child or the children to be placed in a foster home,
mhm.
they're not going to get the incentives if it's not placed in a family home.
Right.
So what they do, oftentimes they tell the social worker tells the parent, the siblings or the grandparents or whatever to become a foster parent. They actually take them, get their license online or whatever. And then they have control over them. Get it? Because if they're foster parents, they're going to get the funding. There's
They
a
get their
lot of
license online?
Yeah, they actually have the grandparents and aunts and uncles get their foster license to get the children placed with them.
Oh, wow.
Right. So what they do, they have them fill out papers every year, every 6 months. I can't remember, what I read. And then if you make a mistake, God forbid, you're in the hospital dying of something, you forget to complete the paperwork. Guess what? They go to your home, grandma, and they take your grandkids from you because you failed the rules. I kid you not. This happened. This happens all the time. And I didn't know that it existed until I talked to one of our attorneys, before, about 8 months ago. And this person told me to read this article. And I did. And lo and behold, anything you make, any mistake you make, they will come and take your grandkids from you over paperwork. I kid you not. So basically, Bill Clinton, the Clintons, that's just my opinion, are idiots. They're demonic. Because to steal someone's children and give them that right to do that with more funding, giving them more control, right? It's like a car salesman. He's not going to want you to leave the dealership without selling you a car. They don't want you to go to Ford. They want you to buy from them, right? They're going to do everything they can to make sure you buy that car. Social workers are 40 steps ahead of the parents. They know what they're going to do before they get there. I kid you not. They are ahead of you at all times. Oftentimes they give parents bullshit talk, right? They say, oh, just do this, sign the safety plan, everything's going to be okay. Do as we say, everything is going to be okay. Then they forget, supposedly they say, to make the appointment at the drug screening facility that they sent the parents to, which is usually 2.5, 4 hours away from their home. Okay. Then the appointment is at 4:15. They tell them the appointment is at 4 o'clock. At 4:30. And then they end up being there late. Then they tell them their name is not on the list. Then they go back and tell the social worker, and guess what the social worker writes in the report? Positive. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Mhm.
You're demonic. Demonic. It's like the devil possessed all of them. Again, I'm not giving you this as an attorney. I am just speaking my mind. So just remember that. That's what I have seen, and that's what I have read. And shame on the Clintons. And one day you're going to meet your creator, and you're not going to be in a very happy place.
That's
Because
right.
It's like they're trying to play God or something.
that's
Yeah.
right. And also, when Clinton took office with Obama, they give them more funding. So the funding just keeps increasing when Democrats take over. This is bullshit. Like I told you guys on my shows before, I used to be a Democrat. I refuse to do that again, because I have seen so much corruption, so much in the system, that it makes me sick. It makes me sick that they actually go take children when a parent is actually supporting a Republican president. And actually, the social worker tells them that, but they're not held accountable in court. When the judge hears a social worker saying that on the ring camera, right? Or the court appointed attorney doesn't even want to put it in evidence, right? But the judges listen to the social workers. Why? Because the social workers have control over the court. They always listen to the recommendation. That's just my opinion. Mr. Davis can argue with me. That's fine. That's his thing. He's right. But that's just my right to say they're all messed up in the head. And they're all after one thing, money. And the Democrats, all they want is a vote from them. And guess what? They all vote Democratic. If you look at every judge in the juvenile system, they're all Democrats. All of them. If you look at the history of every social worker, all Democrats. All of them. All of them. So basically, when they take a child, they see that as money, merchandise. It sells. It's great. Especially if your child is blonde hair, blue eyes. Money. That's it. And then they monitor you for the rest of your life, because every child you have is money. I have a social worker on tape where she said, by the way, she forgot. Remember, Cassandra, I said that on my show before. She forgot that she didn't hang the phone with the mom. She forgot to say end or something. So what happened was the mother was still on the phone listening to all this. The supervisor was telling her she makes good babies, cute babies.
Oh my God.
She makes cute babies. The mother was only 28 years old. Let's keep an eye on her, she said. She makes cute babies. So I resent the Department of Child Services. I resent everything they stand for. You know why? Because they don't go and take kids who are actually abused. They actually leave kids with the abusers.
Yes, they do.
Focus on the kids who are healthy, who are beautiful, who come from beautiful parents. That's what they focus on.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's it. So they're all full of shit. That's all I have to say. But honestly, I want you guys to call me, ask for Miss G, and tell them that you were on the show with me and Davis tonight and Cassandra. So that way I can remember. I get so many calls and so many people. Forgive me if I don't remember, but just remind the receptionist to write that in the email for me if I'm on the phone. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
I want to go in depth with you guys, and don't give up. And there's always a solution, always. But that's what they want you to do. Give up. Don't give up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so
Miss
much.
G,
Thank you,
you
Mr.
didn't see my
Davis.
Halloween costume yesterday on the show.
Yeah.
Oh my
I'm a
God!
public- I'm a public defender. No.
She was yeah, I can't stand them, guys. I really can't. And everything that comes out of their mouth. And actually, the judges, just to be clear, the judges wear the black robes, but they're not the ones making the final decision. Davis always says they are. That's, again, that's Davis. Me, I say different. I don't have to be an attorney to know that. The judges always takes the recommendation of the workers.
Mhm.
Always. So who's wearing the black robe? The social workers,
Mm-hmm.
not the judges. The judges are just sitting there listening and then telling parents, shut up, sit down, shut up. You're not a
Yeah,
good
they
parent.
did that to
You suck. Like the judge actually lived with you. Judge knows your life. They actually say you're not a good parent. To me, is how do you know who I am as a parent, right? They
right.
don't know you.
Yeah.
They didn't give us a chance to even be a parent.
Yeah.
There is a judge in LA County. I'm not going to name the court, but Cassandra knows about this. I said it on my show about 2 years ago, no, a year and a half ago. That judge owns 4 group homes. 4 in LA County. 4.
Oh my gosh.
They have the judge's name. They had an article about him in the news, and he's still a juvenile dependency judge. All the cases he gets, abuse and neglect. Abuse and neglect. The foster homes for abuse and neglect children. For abuse and neglect children. The judge owns it. And the kids go there. So the judge is making money, right? Profiting from stealing children from parents. Now, do you guys understand?
All right, Macy has given me a reminder. We've gone over our time budget on the show this evening. I want to thank everybody that joined us. Miss Mona Lisa Vito, thank you and your family for joining us.
Thank you for
sharing-
having us.
Thank you
We
for
appreciate it.
and sharing your story. Miss G, always a pleasure. Miss Cassandra, thank you very much. And we'll see everyone tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Alrighty? Good night, all.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.